How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Is that your little bob to get ready? Just, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, another week of fights. Another week of Story of the Fight. This time covering UFC Vegas 22. For any new listeners, please, if you like our content, give us a follow, like, subscribe. You can follow us on Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts as well. Social media, Will?
Yeah, Instagram, Story of the Fight, Twitter, Story of the Fight, and obviously YouTube. If you comment there, we'll see it and we'll probably respond.
Yep.
So yeah, check us out everywhere.
MMA Talk Community by Story of the Fight podcast. Just if you want to chat with us about the fights on Facebook as well. So that being said, we did have a few fights last night.
Yep.
A couple bangers, couple sleepers.
Yeah, some swinging and banging.
And some not so much swinging and banging. But
yeah,
I think that we learned a lot from this card about a lot of different fighters. So
yeah, you could say that, definitely.
We'll start off with Silva versus Bays. By the way,
I'd like to.
Looks like Bays.
Yeah,
but pronounced by Bays, right?
Yeah, pronounced Bays. I'd like to, if I may, go over a moment of silence.
Of course.
Of
course.
Trevin Giles was originally supposed to fight, and I'm going to butcher this, the Duplessis. How do you pronounce that guy's name? South African, right?
Duplessis?
Duplessis, is that what it is? Okay, yeah.
I believe
that was
Duplessis.
Supposed to happen. Duplessis had to withdraw, unfortunately, because I really like both those guys. It would have been a cool kind of matchup.
Yep.
Jamal Hill versus Paul Craig would have been awesome.
Always fun
Hill
to watch
had
Paul Craig, too.
Withdraw. Yeah, that was a great fight. Tuivasa was supposed to fight Dontel Mays, which would have been really cool. Mays had to, I don't think he didn't pass physicals or something. But Tuivasa at least got an opponent on 9 days notice, I think it was. So that fight he still got to fight at least.
Yep.
And then the most bummer of all of them, the one that I was honestly looking forward to the most on this whole card, was Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell. Would have been super cool. Someone in Riddell's corner tested positive, I think. And I don't know if that's related to Volkanovski also testing positive. I wonder if there's some overlap there, because I know they're from the same neck of the woods. But yeah, it was a bummer then. Co-main event getting canceled.
Let's not forget about Julia Avila and Julija Stoliarenko. And I'm sure everybody saw the video. Stoliarenko that was weighing in, and I want to cover that a little bit later, so we'll touch on that later. But man, another week of COVID. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, man.
Still a really good card, though.
Oh yeah, excellent. Like I said, I walked away from this really feeling like I knew more of what to expect from certain fighters. So again, we could start off with Silva versus Bays. First off, Bays looking very relaxed, maybe too relaxed in the beginning.
Yeah,
and then
the story going into this, all they're talking about, right, is the fact that Bays and his wife are both fighting on the same card.
Yeah,
right. That's all they're talking about.
It could make for a very great night, or not so great night for the family.
Or it could be
a disaster.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, but that's all they were talking about going into this fight.
Took a little kick in the balls and a little poke in the eye to wake
just
Bays
to start
up,
the night.
Just to get it going. Dude.
Bruno Silva, man, the veteran. It's a veteran move.
Yeah. Let me welcome you in. Dude, but Silva came out super aggressive, and I loved how he was mixing up whatever he was leading with. Right, so it'd be a lead uppercut, it'd be a lead straight. It'd be just so many different looks, right? The spinning elbow. Like, I just really enjoyed watching Silva strike last night.
Yeah, he was going for it, man. It's got to be weird when you're fighting and, leading up to the fight, all you're hearing about is the guy you're fighting, and you're not hearing anything about yourself. It's got to be weird. I don't even know if you notice it, really, but but it seemed like he was just he's like, "Fuck you, Baze, you're taking everything I'm working for." You know?
You and your wife, yeah.
You and your wife.
Yeah.
I'll knock you both out the same night.
Hey, Baze was tough though, man.
Yeah, dude, you see his sweet Dark Souls roll to get out of some danger? Almost got him completely out of danger.
Almost.
You got to keep rolling, though. You can't just do it once.
Clocked on the head real quick again.
Yeah, he got dropped.
When you get rocked like that, right? And even with the roll, and he was still moving, actually. Like, when he rolled out of that, and he was... And at this point, it's safe to say you're somewhat concussed. So it doesn't take very much more after that to put you down again, and I think that's what we saw.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right? But Silva, dude, again, he looked good.
He looked good. You know?
He looked good.
A couple fouls, you know?
Again, just waking everybody up.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you guys caught last week, but this is here to stay.
These are opportunities. The entire card, too. The entire card, you hear fingers back in. Fists are up.
Yeah.
All night. And you have Bisping, you have Felder, Fitzgerald, just continued bringing up the opportunities around the eye pokes, right? So it's something we're going to continue talking about for a while, I think, until Dana White watches our last episode and hears your suggestion during Will's Wisdom. So
listen, it's right here. It's right there.
It's right there.
Answer.
All right. So next, Jackson versus Strader. So Jackson came into this being the largest favorite at minus 700. For a reason. This was
pretty
obvious.
And I think Strader took this fight on short notice, no?
Yep.
Yeah. Respect.
But again, when you get that call.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before.
Yeah, because this is his first. Yeah, this is his debut, right? So, yeah, you got to take it. But man, Montel is just. He's so slick, man. He's still, you can tell, like, obviously he's not undefeated or anything like that even matters, but I don't think, like, any of his losses should, like, derail the potential of this guy because, man, he's so slick and just, like, you can tell he's so aware of movement and what strikes work when, and just, you can tell he's a very complete fighter and just, like, super cerebral while he's in there. And he just kind of methodically found his moment. You know, it was just like par for the course. He just did everything correct and then got to finish and was like easy work. Wasn't even really hyped in like the interviews or anything. Was just like, yeah, that's what I do. You know,
yeah.
Just like there's another day in the office.
And I think this is just an example of somebody just being too much for another fighter.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you got to take that call whenever it comes through. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, Vegas feels like they know what's going to happen. I mean, minus 700 for MMA is a pretty big difference, right? But
pretty massive, yeah.
Props to Strader,
especially on like a
fight.
Yeah, a non-women's bantamweight title fight. It's pretty massive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only time we see odds like that.
But nothing else on that fight, man.
No, I'm just excited to see Montel fight again because I mean, 10-2, he's young. I don't know how old he is, but he's young in the sport, which matters the most. 28.
Based off of last night's fight, he should be ready to go here pretty soon if that's what he wants to do. Yeah,
definitely. Man, there's some interesting fights for him, man. I really like watching him fight. He's just so loose, you know? He's loose, but it's not like, you know, sometimes, and we'll talk about this later, sometimes someone's so loose that there's holes, you know? And that's not the case with Montel. He's so loose, but he's not leaving openings, you know? So
loose but disciplined.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
All right.
Loose, methodical, disciplined, very high hopes for him, honestly. Sweet. In a nasty division.
Dude, yeah, Murderer's Row, man. Murderer's Row. Now, the next one, Trevin Giles versus Roman Dolidze.
Yeah, both these guys are sick too. Dolidze coming into this undefeated, right?
Now, does Dolidze have the hairiest chest? For anybody going in, I was like, come on, bro. Like that.
Hey, bro, that's a tactic, man.
But I think about that and just
We've talked about that before.
Rolling, man, and you have somebody's chest hair in your face. Like I can only imagine, you know, just nonstop in this fight.
Yeah. And Giles said, "Hold my Gillette."
Dude,
I'm about to take this out.
The first round, right? Dolidze was doing a pretty good job of getting in and out quickly. And Giles did catch him with a couple shots straight to the forehead. And right away you see like a little mouse dead center. Dolidze's forehead. So you could see there's a big difference in power between the two.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think all three judges gave the first round to Dolidze, and then Giles made the adjustments, shifted the momentum, and just kind of ran away with it. At that point, it was kind of it was pretty one-sided.
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't like a crazy beatdown or anything like that. It's not like he beat the brakes off of him or anything, but
no, but just based off of how the rounds ended up, it was going into the decision. I felt very comfortable calling it 29-28 for Giles.
Yeah, same. And then I had flashbacks of Manel Cap's last fight and thought maybe something weird's going to happen.
And they're like, no. That was just for
you never
Manel
know,
Cap.
dude. Yeah.
No, but dude, I did like the leg lock transitions from Dolidze. That was very fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, great job by Giles because he was in a couple positions where it looked like that ankle lock was going to be in there tight.
And I think people are kind of shitting on Giles for his fight IQ in this fight and like not going for the finish and things like that. But I think Dolidze was doing just enough to show that there's still threats and like, hey, I got to stay cautious here. I'm not trying to go wild for a finish and end up with torn up knees. You know, like I don't discredit him at all. And Dolidze took this on short notice, which means Giles also technically took this on short notice, you know. So I don't blame him for being cautious, if that's what you want to call it, you know.
And I believe that was Dolidze's first loss too. So
yeah, I think he was undefeated going into it.
Yeah, he had looked very good going in. I mean, he didn't look bad in this fight either, but
no.
You know, Dolidze, I think, or Giles, I'm sorry, did a good job even when Dolidze was transitioning from leg lock to leg lock of just trying to stay active while he was on top too. And just trying to touch him any way possible. So that might have helped sway things in his direction also with the judges. Because I think if he would have just allowed Dolidze to continue transition, and all he was doing was just defending by, you know, folding the knee and stuff like that, then it'd be a little bit different. But the entire time he was up there, man, he was trying to be active. So props to him.
Yeah, definitely. And you get 0 points for defending takedowns. Or not takedowns, submissions. But you do get points for attempting submissions, right? So you can't just sit there, be complacent, and defend submission after submission because you're losing if that's what you're doing. You might think, but he tried it, but I survived it, so I'm winning. No, that's not how the scoring works. So
no.
Yeah, props to him.
No,
you're wrong.
All right, so the next one, Dawson.
Yeah, what a fight this one was.
Versus Santos. So, dude, this was an interesting fight.
Yeah, it was, dude.
Interesting fight. Santos did a very good job of countering Dawson's takedown, the shots that he was having, and then that first judo trip that he had when Dawson was putting all that pressure up against him on the cage, and I was like, man, that Santos came in ready, knew exactly who he was going to face, and had a nice game plan. Yeah, absolutely. Second round, Santos started moving a little slower, right? And you see Dawson starting to do a little more work. Dude, but
and he got wobbled in the first too, you know. So
he did.
That was
he did.
Yeah.
But dude, the finish. Gnarly finish, man.
Yeah, how much time was left? Was it 1 or 2 seconds?
Well, it's 2 seconds when it was like 3 seconds when you see the mouthpiece start flying.
Yeah.
But when they officially clocked it, I think it said 1 second left in the fight. And it was up in the air, really.
Yeah.
It was a really close fight.
It was a very close fight. Have you seen the scorecards, though?
Yeah, I believe it was still going to go the direction of Dawson.
Yeah. It was one of those fights where a lot of people were thinking that Santos had first 2 rounds in the bank, and he was almost.
Maybe Santos thought that too.
Yeah, I mean, seemed kind of like it, right? In the third round, kind of seemed like it. I don't know how much of it was exhaustion or anything like that, but 2 judges had Dawson winning the first 2 rounds. 1 judge had it split going into the third. So even if it went that last second, there's no way Santos was going to get that third round. It would have been a unanimous decision for Dawson. But you see I don't know if Santos was coasting for the decision, right? He might have thought he had 2 rounds in the bag. He might have just been exhausted. It might have been Dawson applying his willpower to take that third so dominantly, right? If he was coasting, not cool. Dawson could have coasted in that third round. Instead, gets a finish with 1 second left, and that's the difference. You know what I mean? That's
you know what might have made that difference?
Age.
Quite possibly, but maybe having the James Krause in your corner might have made the difference. Dude, I'm telling you, again, we could call this the James Krause podcast because every single time this guy's in the corner, dude, I'm just constantly impressed by this guy's corner work, man. Again, I enjoy him as a fighter, but watching the way that he interacts with his fighters, the clarity, the honesty, the way that he's able to push them, and you could see that his fighters have so much respect for James Krause, and he's like a really young dude. He's been in the game for a while, but
he's still a very active fighter.
And he is. Usually you see this level of respect from fighter to coach with somebody that's been in the game for centuries. Yeah. Right? But to see this with another active fighter, a young active fighter, man, it just goes to show the relationship that this guy's able to build with his fighters in camp, at the gym, and then, again, dude, just the advice he gives him in the corner. After hearing his corner work, I want to run in there.
I know,
I got you.
Like, let me get it. No. But like you said, I've always been a fan of his fights also. And honestly, his rise as a top coach and watching his corner work, especially his corner, you can say whatever you want about a coach, right? Because of the results that their fighters are getting. And you say, oh, they must be fantastic coaches, behind the scenes. It's another thing to be able to do that and be a fantastic coach in the corner. Those are 2 very separate things, right? You could be the best coach in the world at preparing your fighter up until a fight, but you could be dog shit in the corner, or vice versa. You might just be good in the corner and you don't know how to prepare somebody, and that's why you're there in the corner and you're not a head coach at a gym or anything like that. But with Krause, you watch his corner work, and it makes me more excited when he's fighting. It makes me root for him even more when he fights, and I'm more invested in his fights because he does such a good job in the corner. He's just a cool guy. He just seems like a cool guy. Always has,
Yeah, I'm calling it right now, man. When we have our next recap of 2021, the James Krause Coach of the Year, I'm calling it right now.
Probably.
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one, Reneau versus Chiasson.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it correctly, or?
I think so. I don't really know if I'm being honest.
I threw a little bit of a French accent in there, so anyway. Yeah. Chiasson's first fight since 2020, February 2020, man.
Yeah.
Been out of this
for over a year, man.
13 months. 13 months with the heart condition. That shit's no joke. So for her to come back and look the way she did, dude, props to her, man.
Props to her because, man, she's got some grit, dude, and her hands look really good. She needs to tighten up her defense a little bit, right? She's getting hit with shots that were pretty telegraphed and were thrown from kind of a mile away. And that might just be she felt the power already, so she's like, I can take this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we've seen that come back to bite people in the ass very recently. But her offense, fantastic. Did a great job defending takedowns. Got a sweep of her own when she did get taken down. Her striking in the clinch is fantastic. She busted her up with shots just in the clinch. All of a sudden, she's bleeding all over.
Her length, man. The reach that she has, so in the clinch when she was really able to move her midsection back and then still come in with this long knee from hell.
Yeah. Her hands really remind me of, not so much her footwork or her movement at all, but her hands remind me of Carlos Condit a lot. It's not the same, right? And I don't think it's close to that level, right? Condit was a fucking assassin back in the day, but just the angles that she throws punches from and the length that she uses just really reminds me of Condit for some reason. And Reneau, a little bit more traditional, right? Not that that's a bad thing, right? You look at some traditional fighters like Frank Yeager and stuff, and look what they've done in their career, but very traditional. Whereas Chiasson, she's kind of unorthodox. Her timing was really fucking weird. Kind of a weird puzzle to crack. And Reneau did land her shots, like I said, but she kind of just ran away with this after that first round.
By the way, Reneau, they were saying, is a high school teacher.
I think she's like a PE teacher, right?
Who was the coolest high school teacher you had?
I've had a couple really cool ones.
Were any of them fucking mixed martial artists? Like fighters in the UFC? Can you imagine? Like Miss Reneau comes back and she has a fucking black eye. Her nose is crooked. And she's just like, another day in the office this weekend, boys. Get to work. Run some laps. You know what I mean?
Dude, we had one guy at my high school that was a custodian. I guess custodian, handy, like he just did a bunch of shit for the school, right?
Yeah.
His name was like Mike O'Connor or Mike O'Connell. He was Irish, and he was gigantic. He used to be like a bodybuilder. Used to bench, like his max was like 525 or something like that.
Damn.
And he used to bench. Yeah. Used to work like security. He was a security guard. He got stabbed. He had to like subdue a guy on PCP one time and got stabbed. And he was like, "What's that?" And they look, and it's the fucking corkscrew part of a Swiss Army knife the dude stabbed him with in the arm. And didn't realize it, right? Because the adrenaline and stuff. Crazy, right? He also had a goatee and was shaving mohawk. So everybody just called him Mike Liddell. So that's the closest thing we had to a UFC fighter.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I think the coolest one was for me was Coach Gower. Because he used to be...
Oh, I remember Gower, yeah.
Yeah, the PE teacher. I think he also
that dude
had...
hit me.
Good. No, just... I think he had... What do you mean he hit you?
We playing baseball. He was pitching, and he fucking hit me.
Oh, well, learn how to get out of the way, dude. So, but I think he had like a cup of coffee with the Reds or some shit like that with the Cincinnati Reds, when he was playing ball. But, I mean, that was didn't have any professional fighters teaching at my school. That's fucking awesome, man. Anyways, all right, good fight for Chiasson. Nice return fight. Very promising.
In a division that doesn't have a lot of promise.
Hunsucker versus Tuivasa. Now, I told my wife, I was like, and Dallas, my son, was in the bed with us. We're watching the fights, and I was like, man, I really, really want Tuivasa to win. Like, I really want Tuivasa to win. And Dallas was like, is he your favorite fighter, Daddy? And I was like, I want to say he's my favorite fighter, but he's probably my favorite to watch the day after a fight because you get to see the shit that happens when he celebrates winning a fight. Again, the infamous video where he pissed the bed, the shoeies the night before, you name it. So I'm excited to see once Bam Bam Tuivasa wakes up today, what we'll be able to find on his Instagram. I can't wait. But man, swinging and banging.
This is the one. This was the swinging and the banging. And Tuivasa got cracked once. It was kind of a one-sided fight, but Hunsucker did land a good shot. But
hey, that boy's got a chin,
was like,
man.
You could tell Tuivasa got hit, and it was like, no, not like this. You're not coming in here in your UFC debut and taking me out. It's not going to happen. And just went fucking balls to the wall and just kind of blitzed him. And it was that was a heavyweight fight right there.
It was.
Very much a heavyweight fight.
A heavyweight fight. Mm-hmm. So with Tuivasa, man, I know he's 12-3. Yeah. And from what I remember, most of his losses are coming from him getting gassed.
Gassed and out-wrestled, right?
Yeah, so last I checked, he was working with AKA as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's still bouncing back and forth between AKA and his other gyms. But if he continues getting some wrestling in at AKA, right, and he continues displaying that power, he can make some moves in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Let's get him versus Greg Hardy,
Oh, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Let's make it happen.
Because I think they're both unranked, right? Yeah, both unranked. Yeah,
Tuivasa's not ranked. I definitely could tell you without checking that Hardy's unranked.
Greg Hardy's not ranked.
Absolutely not. But dude, just always fun to watch. I love watching his post-fight interviews. Tuivasa just seems like one of the funnest guys in the UFC. And I think about like, if you've ever thought about like, hey, Will, if you were to win some type of contest with the UFC, and Dana White would say, dude, you have the choice to party with one person, anybody in the UFC roster, who would it be?
Fuck, dude.
That's a tough one, right?
I don't even know, dude.
Hey, but all I know is Tuivasa's got to be up there.
Yeah, he's definitely up there, right?
Like, he'd probably be in my top
list.
4, top 3, and I'm like, God, this is a tough decision from that point on.
Yeah. See, it's weird for me because I don't drink, right? So, like, am I going to go get fucked up and do a bunch of shoeies with Tuivasa? No.
Why
not. Huh?
I mean, I think about Tuivasa and be like, dude, that'd be a blast. This guy just seems like a blast to be around.
It'd be a ton of fun. Yeah.
Then, like, if you really want to party, you take a look like John Jones. I'm like, well, no, dude, I want to pass every drug test known to man afterwards.
I don't know if I want to potentially get shot. I don't want to
get arrested.
I'm not trying to get in a car crash.
What level of partying am I trying to do? Hit and runs, shoeies. I'd probably go with the shoey. Anyways, we'll go on to the next one. So, our boy Nevro, one of our most consistent listeners, shout out to you, Nevro, tweeted out and said,
"You're the best."
Who he is. Who are you boys watching out for? Who are the fighters to watch, fights to watch? And I'm sorry I didn't respond on time. But my boy Nevro, I would have told you. For me, it's Adrian Yanez. So the next fight, Yanez versus Lopez. And I think I was telling you before we started recording, Will. Yanez, dude, I'm a sucker for family. I'm a big family man.
Wait, does he have a story about his family?
Yeah, dude. You probably didn't see it. No, so, I know it was all over. When he first started fighting, right?
Yeah.
But the whole story with his dad, and so I have a soft spot for Yanez after that. Mm-hmm. But it's not just the soft spot for Yanez, but it's just the way that he has shown up in his fights in the UFC.
He's for real.
Spectacular KOs. He's so patient.
Yeah,
he seems to be so
too
poised.
patient.
Right now, with these fighters, it's okay. With the level of fighters he's facing right now.
True. That's true, yeah.
When we start moving up the ladder, maybe too patient, right?
Yeah.
But his patience, the poise he shows in there is of a veteran. Quick hands. Crisp boxing.
Dude, so accurate.
So accurate. His counters are money. I'm in awe.
What his stats. Yeah, no,
I'm
he's
in awe
legit,
of
man.
Yanez.
And like I say, the whole maybe too patient thing, that's obviously kind of just like joking around, because all that gives him is octagon time. He's not losing. He's not losing. If you count the contender fight as a UFC fight, it's technically 3-0, 3 finishes. So clearly he's not too patient, where he's not getting the results that he's looking for.
He picks and chooses his moments.
What was that?
He picks and chooses his moments.
Yeah, and that helps that helps you be that accurate, right?
Yeah, and that's where I say like the poise and the patience, very veteran-like. But that was, I believe, his second fight in the octagon, right? His official
that was the second
fight in the
second UFC fight for sure.
And
first one came with the head kick, right?
Too. Yeah, first one with a head kick. This one with hands. You know what I mean? But props to Lopez too, because Lopez was game, man. And so when I saw this, again, I told you, Will, I love watching Mexican fighters, because going in, I'm like, it's gonna be a banger. It's swinging and banging. What are we gonna see? And coming into this, they were talking about Lopez grappling, and they were saying, well, let's see how Yanez handles Lopez grappling, and Lopez was like, no. Let's just swing and bang, and let's see who comes out on top.
I'm here to do 2 things: swing and bang.
Click and clack. So with Lopez, he landed some good shots too here and there, but once Yanez got Lopez timing down, and he saw the speed differential, and he was like, oh, dude, I can stand in front of this guy. I can wait for him to telegraph that right hand, slip it, and come with a right hand of my own. Right?
It's somebody has their timing when you get a knockout, reminiscent of, remember when Kung Lee knocked out Rich Franklin?
Yes.
Because Rich Franklin's coming with the big right, slips
Was
it,
that in San
tags
Jose?
him, and he spins around. Was that in San Jose?
I can't remember because
I
I
thought it was
remember
in-
watching.
I thought it was in Macau. Or maybe
I
that
don't
was
remember.
Bisping Kung Lee.
I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but and that's kind of what this was, right? Was Lopez goes with the right hand, slips it, counters so fast that he's still swinging his right hand as he falls to the ground, and just the clean walk off, just walk away, no follow up shots needed, just we're good to go.
And no, my mistake. I believe I was thinking about Kung Lee versus Frank Shamrock. That might have been the fight I was thinking about in Strikeforce. So
this was
maybe,
Macau. Not
my
just
bad.
was it. No, just was it Macau, but it was the first UFC event held in China.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Shout out to
a couple
China.
juicy boys.
So, but just fantastic fight, and we'll move on to the next one. And just like I told you, Will, I get excited when I see Mexican fighters. On this next fight,
Yeah,
Baez versus Conejo.
yeah.
Now, Conejo, this might have been the least exciting performance that I've ever seen from a Mexican fighter since I was a child to right now in any type of combat sports. Now, I give props to Conejo because she did what she had to do to win the fight. Walking out of this, she has another tally on her win column, and Baez has another tally on her loss column. That's what she goes in there for. She got her show money, and she got her win money, right?
Yeah.
Again, just seeing the history of the Mexican fighters and just the tradition of swinging and banging and the exciting fights. This one, worst I've ever seen. Worst performance I've ever seen from a Mexican fighter.
Brutal. Yeah, man. This is one of those weird fights where it's like so close to going another way. You know, when someone has one move that they're really good with and you know it's there and you can't defend it, and then they get you in it and they're attacking your arm, and the only thing that's saving your arm is you keeping the grip on both your arms so you can't take it, but that also makes it so you can't get out of the position, then we have a stalemate. And then it's like, what do we do? It's difficult to stand them up because technically there's a submission threat close, and you don't want to stand someone up when they could get a submission in the next couple seconds. But also, was she ever in any danger? Probably not. But I don't know if you can stand somebody up in that position, right?
Yep.
That's tough.
And I think the ref did the right thing and didn't stand him up.
Yeah. I think
Because-
ultimately that's probably the right call, right? Because
It's the right call.
it is close, it's close. But you could see anytime they were at range that Baez was just piecing her up, and she just didn't have the knockout power to put her out. And in the third round, she finally started making some more adjustments of better distance management. Anytime they would get in the clinch, she would just break instantly, and push away. Yeah. Still ended up in the third round. She ended up in that position too, right?
Well, she ended up in that position a majority of the fight.
Yeah. But she won the third round.
She did. Now, and that's where, for me, it was frustrating on Baez's side. Because as much as I'm saying least exciting performance I've seen from a Mexican fighter in any combat sport since I've been a child till now.
Yeah.
I also, there's frustration with Baez because it's like you know exactly what she's going to do.
Yeah.
And it's your job at that point to stop it.
You need to make the adjustment.
You need to make the adjustment. When she would feel herself start teeing off on Conejo and she would connect, she didn't want to leave that engagement when she should have pushed away, circled out, and met back at the center of the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, she would feel herself crack Conejo a couple times. Conejo would rush in with these punches. She would smell some blood, and boom, clinched up against the cage. And Conejo, and then Conejo is fighting for the positioning. She has her head right in her chin. She did a great job with that. Yeah. And you feel the shoulder or the arms start coming up to wrap around the neck. And it's like, here we go again. And sure enough,
Yeah.
there we go again. Right? And it's just extremely frustrating. Congratulations, Conejo, on the victory of the fight.
Good luck getting home.
She did say, Bay said, I'm going to follow you home.
She said, I'll follow you home, bitch. That was the most exciting part of the fight, is after the fight.
It was. Oh, man. That was the most back and forth we got to see. You know, and this reminded me very much of the Roy Nelson versus Kimbo Slice fight on Tough.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Where Roy Nelson just lays on top of Kimbo.
Dana was
gets
so
in that
pissed.
headlock, and it's just throwing these little rabbit punches right on Kimbo's forehead. And Kimbo's just taking them. And that's the fight, right?
Yeah. I remember Dana was so mad, dude. Because Kimbo was like that was the market right there. She was like, no, not like this.
And I wouldn't say that he was upset with Bays, thinking like, we had so many plans for you, Bays. But at the same time, I think he probably could walk away from this and say, we have no plans for you, Bays. We have no plans for you, Conejo. No winner.
No, I think they have plans for Bays, honestly. I think they have more plans for Bays than they do for Conejo. Yeah. A somber night for the Bays family. It must have been...
We were talking about that earlier. It's either going to be a really good night, party at the Bays household, or slam the door as soon as you walk in there. Let's reflect on the night and move on, right?
Man, it's got to be somber.
Somber night. All right, so the next one. Song, not Song Yadong,
Yeah.
Song Kanan versus who you thought would have been the fighter to watch going in. So Nevro, Will's pick was your boy Griffin there. Max Griffin. Max Payne Griffin.
Was he the underdog coming into this?
I don't remember, honestly.
I know the Tapology consensus
so.
was that Song was going to win this fight.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to say Griffin was a slight favorite. Either that or they both came in at like minus 115, minus 115 or something.
Even, yeah.
Yeah, because,
I think Max Griffin has the tools, man. He has the tools. I've seen so many good things from him. He's just, sometimes he gets caught up in the fight, like the back and forth, and kind of gets into dogfights, and then he ends up losing like a split decision, but it's a close fight, This one, when they were starting, I thought Griffin was going to win, and what I liked at the very, very beginning was when they were both kind of feeling each other out. Song was doing a great job of just being very straight, right? Where Griffin had a little bit more loop to his punches, but man, he uses his reach so well. Like it's like his arms are like you remember those fucking things you get at like Straw Hat Pizza? You put your quarters in, you push it in, pull it out, and the thing would fall out, and it would be it's like a rubber like hand that you like slap people with and like slap on the windows.
A vending machine?
Come on, it was like the thing with like they'd be little.
Oh, the sticky hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things. That's how his arms are, dude. It's like he's just floating these arms out, and they like reach across the octagon and tag you, and they kind of loop around your guard.
Like a Stretch Armstrong. Remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Real sure. Bendy. And but there's a snap to him. And while Song looked good, it looked like he was kind of beating him to the punches with his straight shots. Griffin was mixing up body head, and I was like, that's because normally straight punches beat looping shots, right? So it's like in the matchup, I'm going to go with the straight punches, but I will always go with somebody mixing body head over just straight punches to the head. And once they started really kind of setting their like imposing their game plan, right? I was like, man, Griffin's going to run away with this one.
Yep.
And he kind of did. That was a brutal shots, some brutal shots up against the cage. And Song didn't do anything wrong in this fight. He just got clipped a couple times. And DC always talks about how it's not the first one, it's the follow-up shots when you get wobbled. Anybody can get wobbled and hang in there, especially once you're in the UFC, right? But it's those follow-up shots. And Griffin, he had, his... you know how Nate throws his 1-2 where it's like a rolling shot, right? It's like, dude, it's not a 1, 2. It's as soon as you're kind of stung by that 1, the 2's already right behind it. And that's kind of how Griffin had this combo.
I had that exact same thing on my notes where Griffin's 1-2, right? It's just so quick, one right after another, the left and the right. And then the way that he's able to stretch that right hand. So even Song, when he's not just slipping, but Song slips a little bit and moves back with that length on that arm. Exactly. He was still able to get caught, man. That sticky hand.
That sticky hand. He's got sticky hands, dude. It's like he's got magnets in his hands, and they just pull him to your face.
Right to his face, dude. Hey,
dude.
Like, the post-fight interview, can the interviewer stop asking people, hey, can you walk us through that knockout? I feel like they do it every single time, and every single time the fighters are just like, and it punched them. And no, but the thing is, like, every single time that they do that, it seems to be the same thing where the fighter just is quiet. They don't describe anything that's going on. They're watching it probably for the first time, and they're like, oh, look at that.
That's cool.
Hey, man, that was awesome. I got him. It's just
dude,
like,
the 2 worst questions, and you get them all the time, is walk us through this win, and they show the replay. The other one is, how does it feel getting a big win here? Feels good.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, dude, kind of sucks. Like, what are they going to say?
I could do away with those, and for the fighters, they already know. Well, it was a really good victory. We trained really hard for this one.
I'd like to think...
I'm not satisfied with my performance. You know, like, it's same stuff. But, man, let's come up with some new questions. Come on.
Just think of some questions during the fight. Like, they have the people in the truck, right? They should be, I don't know if they do this or not, but they should have somebody there thinking of potential questions to ask the fighters while the fight's happening, and then they can just feed them to whoever's interviewing them. They might do that already, and they just suck at it, but
I was gonna say, and they're really, really bad at it. Like, they're like, I don't know what to ask. I know. Walk us through this knockout, please.
How does it feel to win? Feels great.
All right. So Griffin, hopefully he gets another big matchup here pretty soon.
He's in fun fights. Every one of his fights are fun.
Absolutely.
Even when he loses.
And Song Kenan, he had another fighter that hadn't fought since February of 2020. So not the type of return fight that you want. Chiasson had the type of return fight you want. Song Kenan, not to be confused with Song Yadong.
Yeah.
Not the type of return you want. All right,
or
this next fight.
Yan Xiaonan.
Yan Xiaonan, exactly. So this next fight, Will.
The main event.
The main event, Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson. Now, I got to get something off my chest real quick. Yeah. Because everybody is shitting so hard on Kevin Holland right now.
I know.
Everybody. And you might even shit on Kevin Holland too. I don't know. We haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
But what's super frustrating is all the people that are so quick to hop off the hype train.
I know, dude.
And this includes Bisping. This includes fucking, what's his name? Paul Felder. This includes Rashad Evans. This includes every single person that talked about how
Dana.
Funny and how wonderful, including Dana, and how much of a character this guy is and how much they enjoy watching him fight because of his antics. And it was. But you know what? He's going to be him. Kevin's going to do Kevin, whether he's winning or losing a fight. So if you are going to say, I enjoy watching that from this fighter, and then they start losing, keep the same energy. Because you know what? The shit talking, the funny comments, him talking to Habib and saying, Habib, he's beating me with wrestling. He's smashing me, brother. Like, come on, throw a white jacket on. Come in my corner. Like, Habib was cracking up, man.
Yeah.
While he was illegally streaming the fight, he was laughing.
And even gave him some pointers.
In the 5th round, he gave him some pointers. But all these people, they're saying he needs to take this more seriously now. What if he doesn't want to? The reason that Kevin Holland goes in there and does what he does, and he's so loose and has become a fan favorite, is because he doesn't take the shit too seriously. Yeah. If you listen to Kevin Holland on the Joe Rogan podcast, you're like, oh, my man's doing this because he legitimately likes punching people in the face.
Yeah.
He legitimately likes fighting. This is how he lets his aggression out, and he wants to make money. Did he make money for last night's fight?
He did.
Right? And I know that he's not fucking all somber and he doesn't go on his interviews with Megan O'Leary and everybody's being all bummed out. He's still upbeat.
Yeah.
That's him. If he's happy, let him be happy. And there's people
he's
going on.
He's not fighting for you at home.
He's not. He's not. You know what I mean? And I can guarantee you with the check that he got last night, he's going to buy some more shoes. He's going to buy some more jewelry. You know, he might fucking soup up his car again. There's going to be some things that he's able to do. That's why he's fighting. And he got that. Might he have made a little more extra money if he would have won? Yeah, possibly. But he could also be just happy with the show money. There's people on Instagram right now talking so much shit saying, dude, I lost money thanks to you. I lost money.
I hate that. I hate that
$3,500 down the drain. And you know what? That's on you, fucker. Because Kevin Holland...
And Styles make fights.
Styles make fights. If you take a look at his fight against Darren Stewart, he was in trouble in the third round. How was he in trouble, Will?
Cardio
and wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Cardio led to the wrestling, right?
But mainly the wrestling.
Yeah.
He was in trouble with the wrestling. He's going up against Derek Brunson. What's Derek Brunson really good at?
Very good at charging with his chin. Wrestling.
He's good at wrestling, right? So we knew that this was going to be a tougher fight for Kevin Holland going in. We knew this. Anybody that pays attention, does a little bit of homework, would be able to see like, man, if I'm going to place a bet, this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be up in the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not just that, but Derek Brunson, if you beat Derek Brunson, you're immediately championship caliber. You know,
True
he does
gatekeeper.
not lose. He does not lose to someone who is not at the top. You know, he only loses to the best.
It's so frustrating to see all these people really quickly turning their back towards Kevin Holland and saying, "Hey, what got you to the dance? What gave you all this attention? What gave you a headline in a card is what you need to stop doing now."
Yeah.
He doesn't want to. That's him. Let him do his thing. And just because you want him to take it more seriously so he can fight for a belt, maybe he doesn't want to. I promise you, if Izzy were to tell him, hey, I'll fight you, not for the belt, Kevin Holland wouldn't give a shit. He just wants to fight people. He wants to fight people the best of the best. He wants to test himself. He wants to make money. But for all, round after round after round, it was Bisping and it was Paul Felder shitting on him for not exploding out of there, right? For not having a higher sense of urgency to get out of that. For not, dude, just fucking. Oh, he's talking too much. He seems distracted. Dana White saying it was a mental collapse.
Breakdown.
I've never seen anything like that. It was the exact same Kevin Holland that you were saying. This guy has fought 5 times in a year, 11 times in the last 3 years. Haven't seen anything like Kevin Holland in a long time. If you don't know, now you know. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It was the exact same Kevin Holland we've seen fight after fight. If you're going to love him when he brings those antics, bring the same energy, win or lose. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Yeah, and we've seen it before. Bobby Green, same thing. Anytime Bobby Green fights, if you look at the comments, there's going to be at least a couple people say, can't wait to see Bobby Green try to shit talk his way to a split decision. It's like, bro, these guys have personalities and characters, and it's ultimately fighting is one of the truest forms of expression, right? You can express yourself completely and truly and purely, and people are unique and people are different and people express themselves different than other people do. And you see that with Kevin Holland. And I mean, everyone thinks he's unstoppable and that he's shit talking because he's so above everybody skill wise. That's never been the case. You know, he's just like you said, he's having fun in there. And Brunson is going to impose his game plan, and his game plan is wrestle. And we've seen Kevin Holland lose on his back before against Thiago Santos, right? So obviously that's his game plan coming in. Was it completely one-sided? I don't think so. Everyone's talking like the result is the only story of this fight. Brunson got cracked. Got cracked a couple times. Holland, when they were at range, Holland was landing big shots.
He dropped him.
Yeah, he dropped him. And this is what I was talking about earlier with Montel, where I was saying he's loose, but he doesn't have the holes. Kevin Holland's very, very loose, and unfortunately, there's some holes because of how loose he is. That's not the end of the world. That doesn't make him a terrible fighter. That doesn't mean I don't want to watch him, because the same looseness that has those holes gets him knockouts like he had against Jacare. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know, that's who he is. You know, it's just that.
So
the
that
Diaz
guy
brothers
was
aren't going to check leg kicks.
No, not going to happen. After all these years, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that guy that I was telling you that was like, dude, I lost $3,500. Thanks a lot. And Holland responded with, dude, I didn't tell you to bet on me.
Yeah. Yeah, he shouldn't. I didn't tell
you to bet on this one. He shouldn't. And then somebody else responded, oh, so you expected to lose? Dude, Kevin Holland does not have to take a loss the way that you want him to take a loss.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you're happy to lose? I guarantee you he's not happy to lose. But he's also not devastated that he lost.
Yeah.
He's comfortable with himself.
He's lost before.
Who he is. He's lost before. My man, Kevin Holland's 21-6. That means he had 5 losses before this fight coming into this.
Yeah.
Those 5 losses didn't seem to shake his confidence at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at who he is right now. Right? So all these people just shitting on Kevin Holland. All these people complaining that you lost money. You lost money because of you. You didn't lose Kevin Holland or money because of Kevin Holland. Right? You lost money because of the decision that you made to put money on Kevin Holland.
This is a fight where I would never bet on it. I would never bet on this fight. Derek Brunson, I feel like he kind of gets clowned on because he's had some bad losses. But man, you look at who gave him those bad losses, and they're the best, you know? Mm-hmm. And the guy continually proves that only the best can exploit his weaknesses. And yeah, I want to give some props to Brunson too on this one, you know? Cause,
absolutely. Man,
he, I feel like he gets absolutely zero respect, you know? Just absolutely zero respect. And he's on, what, a 4-fight win streak now?
4-fight win streak now.
Yeah, and you see he called out Paulo Costa?
Yep, I like that fight.
And that's exactly it, man. It's a very dangerous fight for someone like Brunson, style-wise. But
and you know, props to Brunson too for not getting lured in to
you can tell
Holland's from the weigh-ins through the fight. You know, and I think it's the first time that I don't see somebody interact with Holland, other than the slaps in the ass. Which, by the way, Brunson did a little grab as well, which is a little weird. But amen. But you don't see him interact now with Brunson.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of his losses. Okay, Will, his first loss to Kendall Grove.
Yeah.
His
and
next
what year
loss
was that?
This was in 2016, good sir.
Yeah, and also not even in the UFC.
Souza.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Jacare Souza?
Especially Jacare in 2012 when he was a fucking murderer. Like, absolute murderer.
We have Yoel Romero. Ever heard of him?
Yeah, in a close fight.
Then we have
a very close fight.
Robert Whitaker, the ex-champ.
Yeah.
And we have Anderson Silva, one of the greatest of all time.
And let's be honest, Brunson won that fight.
Jacare Souza again?
Yeah. When Jacare probably should have been fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they did Jacare dirty in that time span.
His last 3 wins, Ian Heinisch, no slouch.
No slouch.
Edmund Shabazian, no slouch.
The Golden
Kevin
God.
Holland, no slouch.
Yeah.
I mean, people have to start respecting Brunson a lot more.
Yeah, he's legit. The problem is that I think people have such a hard time giving him props because his hole in his game is the most glaring hole that they tell everybody not to do. And even when you watch his highlight reel that they're hyping up the fight, right? They're showing the highlight reel of him swarming people and getting finishes. Man,
chin's up.
That chin, it's like he's leading with his chin, and that's how he gets caught by these great guys. He's very overwhelming though, and so lesser fighters can't get that counter off on him because he's very overwhelming, and he's good. But man, he's got to just tuck that chin, man. It's such
like a
big
smaller
hole.
A smaller Ngannou, because Ngannou does the exact same thing. The only difference is when Ngannou touches you,
It's over, yeah.
it's game over. You know?
And man, Brunson, man, if he can just tuck that chin, and he's talked about being more patient and stuff, and he loses his patience and he goes crazy, and that's when his chin starts coming up. Man, that is a habit you have to break, and I don't know if you can at this point in your career, you know. But that's ultimately what is gonna hold him back from beating the people like Izzy, Jacare, Robert Whittaker, all those guys. Like, unless he can fix that, Paulo Costa will knock him out. It's as simple as that.
So right now we have Calvin Gastelum that's going to go up against Robert Whittaker.
Yeah,
right?
Great fight. Absolutely
Great
love that fight.
You have Paulo Costa, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till, Marvin Vettori, Jack Hermanson.
Mm-hmm.
If you had the choice, whether they have a fight lined up or not,
Okay.
fight lined up or not, if you had a chance for Derek Brunson to fight one of those names right there to help propel him, who would it be?
Dude, the fight that you make as matchmaking is Paulo Costa. If I'm Brunson, it's a dangerous call out. It's a very dangerous call out. So is Cannonier. I think Brunson versus Hermanson or Vettori is a better matchup for him. Not that I think they're like slouches or anything like that. It's just skill wise and style wise, Cannonier and Paulo Costa, I think probably both knock him out. Where Vettori and Hermanson will get into more of a scrappy fight, where I think he really kind of excels in scrappy fights. But yeah, I don't know. Paulo Costa, I mean, that's the call out. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Costa mentally. It might be the perfect time to call out Paulo Costa. Just don't know where the fuck that dude's head is right now. I don't know.
Who, Paulo Costa?
Did he say why he pulled out of the Whittaker fight? As they given like a real reason?
Probably too much wine again, man. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, man, a great night of fights. Again, I feel like I learned a lot from this card. I think about a Yanez, right? I think about Chiasson, Griffin, Holland. I feel like I learned a lot from this card. So because of that, I thoroughly enjoyed UFC Vegas 22. Man. Yeah, it was a fun card. So
I want to see Yanez. I want to see Yanez go up, man. I want to see him fight. You imagine like a fight with him versus like Chito Vera? How good would that fight be?
That'd be so much fun.
Chito Vera might be too much. Might be too much for him right now, but man, what a good test that would be, you know?
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. All right. So, Will's Wisdom?
Let's do it.
Just got a couple things for you. Just a couple things in Will's Wisdom.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Okay.
All right. So, we talked about Dolidze Stolyarenko.
Yeah.
The weigh-ins. Honestly, every time you see something like this, it's a scary sight. You never want to see somebody stand on the scales, fall back, and pass out. And also, by the way, the medical team that's there, or maybe it wasn't the medical team, when she passes out like that, let's not just yank her right back up before she's even awake. But she passed out twice. Talk to me about the weight cutting process, Will, right now in the UFC.
I mean, it's here to stay. That's the reality. Until somebody, honestly, I feel like the UFC is not going to change anything until somebody dies. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, you know? But it's much better that they do it early mornings on Fridays now instead of 7 o'clock on Fridays. That's crazy. The fact that they used to do them, the ceremonial weigh-ins were actually the weigh-ins. That's fucking insane. But it's much better now that it's in the morning because things like this can happen and they can cancel the fight and people can rehydrate better when they are real sucked in. It's not going to change though. They're not going to change anything. And I don't even know what the answer is because everybody likes to point the finger at ONE FC with the hydration level testing and stuff like that. The fighters in ONE FC will say doesn't mean shit. You know, everybody likes on the outside talk about how great that is and how much safer it is and all this stuff. People are fighting in their natural weight classes. The fighters are like, nah. You will find it's sports. You will find a way to get the advantage. And you could say, I'm not going to cut weight. But then your opponent's still going to. You look at when Nate Diaz first moved up to welterweight. He's not a welterweight. He just doesn't like to cut weight to 155. The problem is he's fighting people who are cutting weight to 170. And then you get someone like Rory McDonald, who's probably weighing like 190 in there, just ragdolling him because he probably weighed in at 170 and is in the cage at 170. And that's what happens, you know. The best solution probably is just more weight divisions, one every 10 pounds. But even then, they're not going to be fighting at that weight. They're going to still cut weight to their or to that point. I honestly have no idea what can even be done about it.
Yeah,
because you have to have weigh-ins. You have
with
to.
Stolyarenko, right? Maybe you're right. Maybe having more weight divisions would have prompted her to fight at a different weight division. But who knows? Because she's fighting at 135. And you know what? There's a 145 weight division for the women. And she still chose to go 135, again, because these professional athletes are looking to get an advantage. So I was hoping that Will, with Will's wisdom, would have the solution for me right now.
I wish there was one, man. I just don't think there is. There's always going to be weight cuts, you know?
And honestly, and it's not just in the UFC. You take a look at even like high school wrestling.
Sports. Yeah.
High school wrestling, I remember my buddies like just dehydrating the shit out of themselves to be able to make weight. So it's something that's just part of the sport.
You know why most wrestlers are kind of shorter, stocky dudes? It's because they grew up wrestling, and the weight cuts legit stunt your growth as you're developing. They legit stunt your growth.
That's what happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
So, so we have the next question and the last question. So I'm excited to see Charles Oliveira get a shot at the title. I was so scared, dude, that he was going to get screwed out of the shot for a title. But Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler for the vacant lightweight belt. Is this the right fight to make, Will, in your eyes?
On a purist level, it's Bronx versus Dustin Poirier. Anything else, out of the question. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Dustin doesn't want that. Dustin wants to fight Conor again. He can say that it's for the fact that Conor gave him a rematch chance, so I'll do him the same solid and I'll give him a rematch. And I'm inclined to believe Dustin on that because Dustin's such a good guy. There's also a lot of money involved. And while championships are nice, I think Dustin knows, even if he loses to Conor, he's probably one or two fights removed from another title fight, and he's beaten Justin Gaethje. He probably feels like he can beat Michael Chandler. You know, all those people at the top, Dustin probably beats them. So even if he loses to Conor, he probably thinks I'm not very far removed from a title shot, especially with the way the mix is going. Everybody's going to be killing each other off now that the belt's up for grabs. I would have loved to see Bronx versus Dustin for the belt. Chandler versus Bronx is a good fight. It's a little weird, though, when you see that Chandler just beat Hooker, which Dustin just beat Hooker right before that, and beat Conor in the same time span. I understand why Gaethje's not involved, because Gaethje, I think... I'm not a fan of someone losing a title fight and getting a title fight right after, you know? It kind of makes sense. It made sense for when Johnny Hendricks lost to GSP, and then GSP retired, so they had Hendricks fight Robbie Lawler, so he had back-to-back title shots, technically, right? But it made a little bit more sense then because it was so close to each other, where Gaethje has now sat out a little bit, where other people are fighting, like Chandler. Bronx has fought Tony, Dustin fought Conor, so he's kind of sat out a little bit, and I don't think you should, in that position, I don't think you can get a title shot for that. Okay. Bronx versus Chandler, yeah. I mean, if the reality is you can't force anybody to take a fight, and if Dustin didn't want to take the title fight, he'd rather fight Conor. That's his decision, you know. I hope that's what happened, and he didn't get passed up because of just talking and negotiating. I'd like to believe that that's what's happening.
By the way, Chandler, I'm liking Chandler a lot.
He's a really good guy.
He seems like a great dude, and he seems to be so marketable. Like when they throw him in random commercials and stuff like that, he comes off as a little cheesy. But dude, like, did you see that commercial he pretty much did by himself for Dustin's hot sauce.
Oh yeah, the hot sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
I
he seems
think,
like a good guy.
I think he's a really good guy. I don't think he's very marketable, at least for the UFC's
You don't like
angle.
him?
No, I really like him. I just don't think the UFC is going to utilize his character that he brings. I don't think they're going to market him correctly. I think they would rather have someone like Conor or even Dustin or Gaethje. I don't know. Time will tell.
Let's hope they do.
Yeah.
Again, he seems like a really nice guy.
Seems like
I
a
think
really
that he
good
is
guy.
somebody that, like me personally, just watching like the commercials and stuff he's in, he seems like a funny guy. You know what I mean? And acting skills could be a little bit better, but better than most other MMA fighters. So
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got for Will's wisdom.
Right on.
Last thing, UFC 260 coming up.
Rest in peace.
This next week. Yeah, I know. Brian Ortega, Volkanovski. And it's not very often that happens, but in the middle of this last night, where they're like, hey, breaking news, Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega, no longer going to be in UFC 260. Volkanovski, of course, had to pull due to COVID.
It's crazy that he tested. How did he test positive, though? I don't understand. He tested negative before he left Australia. He tested negative when he landed, and then tested positive once he got to the bubble.
Nobody understands COVID yet.
I know.
That's reality.
Yeah.
But either
Hopefully
way,
he doesn't have the same reaction that Kamzat had.
We got Stiopik versus Francis Ngannou. We had that coming up.
Immigrant mentality versus an actual immigrant.
We got Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque.
Great
this
fight.
could be the fight that promotes Tyron Woodley to Bellator. This could be
it might be.
Thomas Almeida versus the undefeated Sean O'Malley, undefeated in his own head. So we got some fun fights.
Dude,
coming
Malarkey
up
versus Kama Worthy. Alonzo Mennefield is fighting. He had to pull out of his last fight against William Knight. That's a great fight. Miranda Maverick versus Robertson at the bottom. Great fight.
We got Jessica Penne. Jessica Penne in this fight again.
Penne versus Goldie, the battle of the OnlyFans.
Yep. The battle of the OnlyFans. Dude, how awesome would that be if they just promote themselves at the end?
I
Just
know.
be like, hey, by the way,
Hey,
thank
check
you
it
so
out.
much. Follow me on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good card coming up.
Shane Young versus Omar Morales. Shane Young, I'm so hyped on this guy.
Now, let me ask you this, Will. Are we gonna record on Thursday?
For the pay-per-view, we
picks on
probably should
260?
for some picks. At least the main card.
The main card?
Yeah, just the main card.
Rich the Casual, are you available for Thursday recording of our picks for 260? Fantastic. All right. Do you have anything else, Will?
No.
No?
Not today.
That's all I got. Another week of Story of the Fight. Thanks for listening, everybody.